What's up guys, I'm Kirk Gibson. Today I'm going to show you how to throw a backhand in Ultimate Frisbee. Alright, so the first thing to know about learning a backhand is the grip. So the grip, pretty straightforward. Just think about putting the edge of the rim right in the middle of your palm, maybe at a slight angle. Take your hand, put it on the outside edge of the rim, and just grip it nice and comfortably. Your thumb should rest right on the outside edge of the graphic or at the outside of these grooves right here. Avoid putting your thumb all the way over here or all the way stretched out over here. You just want to make your hand nice and comfortable. That's going to help you easily with the throw. Now on the inside, you see right here, the edges of my fingers are at the deepest part of the groove. So my fingers aren't out here. They're not really tight here, kind of in the middle of the inside of the rim, but they're positioned right here where the edges of my fingers are at the deepest point of the groove. So this is going to allow you to have the most comfort, but also the most control, and then also the most power when you're throwing the backhand. All right, so the next thing with the backhand is the pivot. So most Ultimate Frisbee players will generally stand in a flick stance. If you want to learn more about the flick, check out my other video on the flick. So in the flick stance, the first thing you're going to want to do to get over to the backhand is pivot over. So as we do that, what you're going to want to do is put the disc in your opposite hand and have both hands on the Frisbee. So when you're moving and you're pivoting, as you're doing that, you're switching from your flick grip to your backhand grip, and now I've got both hands on the Frisbee. And as you can see, I generally have essentially two backhand grips, left and right, almost equal positioning on the Frisbee. And so what that does is when you pivot out, it's going to help provide balance and a nice center of gravity for you. A lot of new players, when they pivot over to the backhand, they won't use their opposite hand to provide stabilization to both the Frisbee, to get a nice grip on the backhand, but also to keep them on balance so they can be more off balance. And as you saw, I just did that without putting my opposite hand on it, and my pinky and my other middle fingers aren't exactly in the right positioning. It needs to be in that bottom of the groove. So when you're pivoting, make sure to have both hands on the Frisbee. Now where to pivot? So for a beginner, a nice place to pivot is just a little bit out in front, maybe a little bit towards your target, out to the side, because when you're throwing with a partner or in a game situation, being able to pivot straight out is not going to be really a viable throw. So you're just going to want to practice as you're throwing with a partner or just when you're throwing in general out by yourself, to pivot out and maybe have about a foot of space, foot and a half of space in between your back foot and your forward foot. Now, as you get more advanced, you'll be pivoting straight out sometimes to get away from your marker, because that'll provide the farthest distance between a throw out here and then a throw all the way out here. There's other pivots where you're pivoting backwards a little bit in game situations, but as we're talking right here, you're just going to want to pivot out a little bit and be able to throw right through the strike zone. All right, so the last thing with the backhand is the release. So we've gotten ourselves from a flick positioning. We've put both hands on the Frisbee as we've pivoted out. And the next thing will be, where's the Frisbee position? So it's gonna be, you're gonna wanna put it towards the back shoulder. So as I'm a righty, I'm putting it close on my left shoulder, on the left side of my body. For a lefty, you'll wanna do the opposite. But for right now, you can see the Frisbee's positioned over on the left side of my body. My arm is close to fully extended, but not too much, but it's just comfortable right here. And what it's doing is essentially giving me a little bit of a runway to be able to get some power on the Frisbee, okay? So you could throw a little soft throw, just depending on how quickly you bring the Frisbee through the zone, or you could get a little bit more power by putting it back here. So as I've come over, I've put it back here, you're gonna wanna throw it flat right about here in your abdomen area. You don't wanna bring it through down here. You don't want to throw it too high up here, but you essentially want to bring it right through the strike zone in your abdomen area. And when you do that, in order to get this kind of momentum going through, you're gonna compress your abdomen a little bit. You're gonna bring your shoulder around, your elbow through, all together at the same time. And when you do that, the last bit will be your wrist. And what you do is you're gonna release it flat, and you're gonna have just a slight flick at the end, just to throw it flat, and just to get a little bit of spin on it, and that's gonna create a stabilization on your backhand. So as you bring it through, abdomen, shoulder, elbow coming through, and the last thing with the wrist, just like that. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you can use these tips to help improve your backhand. If you got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments.